Alright, so as far as the book goes, I know that we're not quite there, but I had a question.
Okay.
There was just one part that was kind of confusing to me. So, you know the murder, how Kara got murdered
Mm-hmm.
and the maid saw it. But then when the police called Utterson, and Utterson was like, oh, that's the walking stick or the cane I gave to Dr. Jekyll, and then he said, I'll take you there. Why did he take them then to Hyde's house and not Jekyll's house, if it was Jekyll's walking stick?
I actually hadn't thought about that. I guess I understood that the Hyde's house was like connected to the laboratory in Jekyll's, right?
Maybe. So the maid saw, but she didn't see Jekyll.
Yeah.
Even though it was his walking stick, it belonged to, the person doing it was Hyde, so maybe that's why they went to Hyde's house.
That makes more sense.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Something that was confusing to me was in chapter... Sorry, I'm going to find it really fast. So in chapter 3, when he's talking to Poole, I just don't understand, like, the purpose of that discussion. I mean, I know why he's talking. So Utterson is talking to Poole, and he's like, hey, do you know a little bit about Mr. Hyde? And then Poole's like, well, Mr. Hyde comes in and out. But I just feel like it didn't tell us anything, so I'm wondering what the author's purpose was.
Is that the chapter Dr. Jekyll was quite at ease?
Oh, sorry. No, it's the search for Mr. Hyde. So I guess it's
I must have just... Yeah, when he's talking to Poole about it, it's kind of like, okay, cool. Neat. I just kind of agree. Like, I'm not really sure the purpose. I guess the purpose is just to show and let the reader know, maybe, that Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde are connected.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, Poole's sort of like an outside person and we can kind of trust him, as opposed to, like, Jekyll, who is maybe being blackmailed, and so there's not, like, a good reason to believe him or to trust him.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
I think it opens up for that theme of, like, relationships, right? Like, what are our relationships currently like, and then how are they shaped?
Yeah, I think so. I agree. Nice. Was there anything else that was confusing to you?
Not for me. Anything for you?
No, I felt like the rest has been pretty good. I did like the part, like, when they're going through and the whole Dr. Lanyon parts. I know they're supposed to be kind of mysterious, but they're actually, like, I don't know, they almost have some humor to them in my eyes, because Utterson's so focused on, like, I'm going to find out what's going on. He doesn't even really stop to realize that his friend is, like, dying.
Mm-hmm.
Which is not funny, but also, like, come on, Utterson.
Totally.
I know that there's a problem to be solved, but also, like, I don't know, maybe it's just because that's, like, his last chance to find out from Lanyon, and that's why, but I thought that was kind of funny.
Totally. I agree. He kind of has tunnel vision near the end.
Yeah. So. As far as kind of a bigger question that I had, I just kept wondering, like, what could cause Dr. Jekyll to act so strangely? Like, because at first they describe him as, like, very proper, and then as the book goes on, he just starts getting, like, weirder and weirder, and he starts being like, no, I'm locking myself in my house, and then he's like, I'm throwing a party, and he's like, no, I'm locking myself back up, and, like, I just wonder what could make somebody act that way.
I think so, too. I think that combined with, like, Utterson's suspicions of him, like, the tone gets increasingly more suspicious.
Yeah.
So I think that, in addition to the weird behavior with Jekyll, is making me really wonder what's going to happen next.
Yeah. Maybe Utterson's suspicion makes Jekyll's behavior seem even stranger.
Mm-hmm. That's true. And because the book kind of focuses on Utterson's perspectives, it would make sense that his perspective is becoming stronger when he's talking or looking at Jekyll.
Thanks. Very good. Was there anything topic that you were kind of thinking about?
I was just thinking about identity and how Utterson feels about identity. Like, he kind of seems to label people, like he describes people when he's talking to Poole and the inspector, he describes them a very certain way, but then he seems very reflective. Like when I'm just thinking about chapter, I can't remember if it's 2 or 3, where he's thinking about seeing Hyde over and over again in his dreams, and how he has to like keep establishing Hyde's identity, and he's like, I gotta figure out who he is.
Thought it was so interesting because in his dream, Hyde keeps being like faceless, and then he's like, as part like he had to see Hyde's face in order to really understand who Hyde was.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was part of the identity to him, was what somebody's face looked like, not just like their whole body, but like particularly their face, which is kind of interesting.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
And even like the description of the villainous maid's face when he comes in, it's really interesting too. The villainous face.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Well, I'm excited to read the rest. I think it's going to be great.
Yes, me too. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Woo, now we can do our papers.
Indeed.